You must get over the need, if you have it, because a lot of us have it. You must get over the need to impress your elders. Okay? A lot of us have this need to impress our mother, to do what our father wants us to do, to make our grandmother proud of us. You know, a lot of us have this need, and guess what? It's toxic for a lot of us, and a lot of us is killing us. But I'm going to tell you how right after the introduction. I'm Queen Auset-Heru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button and smack the bell next to it. Also, if you like this video, it would really mean a lot to me if you pass it on to someone else. If you give it a thumbs up, and if maybe you have time, you drop us a positive comment in the comment section. Likewise, please stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read and respond to 2 of my favorite comments from previous videos. Okay? If you want to get a reading done with me, please email me. If you would like to hit me up on social media, all my information, my email, my social media, my Patreon is underneath this video. Also, underneath this video is my Teespring merchandise in case you want some cool Ask an Aquarius merch. Check it out. All right, guys. So I was talking about this need, to impress or make your parents happy. They call it honoring their parents sometime. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Different cultures deal with this in different ways. And some people are not going to agree with me because they're going to say you should do whatever your parents want you to do for the rest of your life until they're dead, period. And that's how they believe, and that's how they're going to live their life. And I say, it's your life, do what you're going to do. But if you ask me, this is not good. Because I know a lot of people, males, female, I know a lot of people in general, young, old, and I even went through this myself, who are basically allowing their parents to live vicariously through them. So for example, I have a good friend, and my friend is right now in medical school. Now, my friend does not really want to be a doctor, but she's in medical school, she's doing very well, and she's actually set to graduate. So she said to me the other day, she said, when I'm done, with school and I'm going to be a doctor and everything like that, I'm so glad because my mother will be proud of me. And I already knew that this was going on, but this was the first time she spoke on it. And I said, okay, but what about you? Are you going to be proud of you? Are you going to be happy? Is this going to be a profession that is fulfilling to you? She hesitated. So I changed the subject because whenever a person hesitates, I get the point they really don't want to go down this rabbit hole. So I changed the subject and moved on with the conversation. But a couple days later, she inboxed me and she said, you know something? My mother is going to be really happy when I graduate, but I don't know how I'm going to feel. I'm going to get a job, obviously. I'm going to move on. I'm going to pay back all these student loans. But she was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. And I've seen this happen. I'm old enough to have seen this happen with a lot of people, including myself. You let your parent live vicariously through you because they wanted to go to medical school. They wanted to be a dancer. They wanted to be a designer. They wanted to be in football. A lot of guys tell me they got into sports because their father was into sports, or their father was too weak or too sickly or something, might have had a condition with asthma where they couldn't play, and they pushed their children to do the things that they couldn't do. And I see a lot of people suffocating under the weight of their elders' expectations. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to honor your parents or honor the elders or especially those who raised you. I don't think that's a bad thing. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing. But the question is, how do you honor them? Do you honor them by giving them your life? By letting them live vicariously through you? By doing the things that they failed to do? I don't think that's fair. And I see it happen in a lot of different cultures. It's not just, American. I see it heavy. As a matter of fact, I see it more heavy outside of the States, but I see it in the States too. It's very common because as children, the one time that we really feel great is when our parents are happy with us, when they give us accolades, when we've done well at school. That's a big one. When we've done well at school, we've done well at activities. Our parents can brag to their friends about how smart, how pretty, how great we are. Those are times when we really feel great because we have our parents' validation. And I think it's wonderful to get their validation and vice versa. But the problem I have with it is so many people do things they don't want to do just to get it. So many people go into professions that they don't even like. Have children, for example. I have a good friend in high school. We're not as close now, but in high school we were very close. Now we talk to each other on Facebook. And I noticed that one of the things that I saw consistently with her was that she did not want to have children. But her family, her mother, her grandmother, her auntie, her father kept bugging her. She's my age. And they kept bugging her about giving birth. Now, this is not something that she wanted to do. So now she's, like I said, my age, and it's kind of, it's not really too late. Women my age have kids. It happens. I wouldn't do it because I think it's a little too late as far as like my physical body. I feel like my body is too old, too tired to be running behind a toddler. But some women do it and they do it successfully. So she, the other day, was talking to me about it, and she was saying, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it now. And I was like, why would you do it? Give me a reason why. And she said, because my family, my elders want me to have a baby. And I was like, dog, if you don't want to have a baby, don't have a baby. This needs to be something that you want. Because the bottom line is that your elders are going to pass over, and you're the one who has to take care of and nurture this baby. You have to bond with this baby. You got to take care. You're responsible. Your elders do help most of the time. Most of our elders do help. But at a certain point, and we never know when that's going to happen, you're going to be alone with this kid. So this has to be something you want in your heart. Not something you're doing because other people are telling you that's what you need to do. All of our elders, I bet you, have an idea of what you should do with your life. Every last one of them, I bet you. From the time you were born, they were putting you in different programs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Little League. They were, from the time you were a little tot. And a lot of times, that's because they were living vicariously through you. And many of your parents are never going to get over this. They're not going to stop. My mother still does this to me to this day. She's still trying to push me towards what she wants me to do with my life, with no care or concern about what I want to do with my life. She don't care what I want to do. She doesn't care what makes me happy. She doesn't know very much about the life that I live. And if I do say things to her, she just criticizes it and talks about how I should do something else, but never says to me. My mother has never asked me in my whole life, was I happy? I've never, ever, ever heard her say that to any of her children, because to her, that's not important. It's not important if we're happy. What's important is if she's happy with what we're doing. and then can brag to her friends at the old folks home, or what is it that they go to? It's like a senior center. At the senior center, we used to call it the old folks home when I was a kid, but now they call it the senior citizen center. So when she goes to the senior center, she wants to be able to brag that her kids are so successful, but it has to be the kind of success that she is proud of. So I just wanted to put it out there. Honoring your parents is loving them. Honoring your parents is looking out for them, taking care of them if they need help. Those kind of things are honoring your parents. But doing with your life what they want you to do is not part of that honor. A lot of them will say that it is, and they'll make it part of the deal because they think that that's going to be good for you. They think what's best for you is what they want for you. It's not a malicious kind of thing, but it can be very damaging. And I've seen a lot of people get into professions or situations or relationships that they normally would not have gotten into. I remember one lady told me, she said, I married my husband because my father told me to. Her father liked this guy. Her father thought he was solid. Her father told her to marry him. Her father died a couple of months after they had this conversation. She married him, and he ended up being a cheater. He was messing around with strippers at the local bar. He was an alcoholic. He crashed up their car several times. He was abusive and hitting her whenever he got drunk and got frustrated. And she stayed with him for over 20 years because her father told her to marry him. Now, in all fairness to her father, he wasn't alive to see all of this other stuff. When he knew him, he knew a solid guy. So I can understand why her father said that. But because her father said that, the psychological conditioning was so hard with her that she stayed with a man who was not good to her for over 20 years. So I'm just putting it out there for you. If you're in this situation, get over it. Seriously, do what you have to do to break that psychological conditioning and love and cherish your parents. Love and cherish your elders, your grandmothers, your aunties, your godparents, whoever these are. Love and cherish them, but let them know I'm going to live my life. I don't never tell my mother, yeah, I'm going to do what you said. I'm like, I heard what you said, and I'm going to do what I want. That's exactly what I tell her. And that's probably exactly what she expects, but she says it anyway. Let your elders know in the kindest way possible that this is your life and that you want to enjoy it. You want to live out your purpose and your mission. And if it's something that they didn't do and they're still alive, they need to find a way to get involved with that. If your dad always wanted to be a football player, maybe he can help with the Pee Wee League at the local school. If your mother always wanted to be a doctor, maybe she can volunteer and be a candy striper. It's other ways they can live that out than selfishly taking your life from you and you psychologically being too afraid to say no because you want them to love you. They need to love you and you need to love them without giving them your life. They gave you the life, not the other way around. Okay? All right, let's check out some cool comments. Number one came from Michelle Cortez. Hey, Michelle, how are you? And Michelle said, I let the Aquarius be wild. Ha, ha, ha. Heck no, not me. Laugh out loud. Too funny. If you let anyone be wild, they'll be wild. But yes, Aquarius does seem to have that more often than most, especially if they've been controlled a lot. That's true. And many of us have been in controlling relationships with our parents. So that's definitely true. Letting the Aquarius be wild is some people's answer to being in a relationship with an Aquarius. And it does work if the Aquarius is honoring that person and, they're talking about it, just letting them do, what they want to do can work, but sometimes it just doesn't. It has to be like with any relationship, there has to be a lot of conversation. And if your Aquarius is wild, it depends on what kind of wild and how they're wild, but it's something that you do have to talk about and work through. And I couldn't be with somebody that was just wow, doing whatever they wanted. And we weren't like, if we're in a partnership, that's like if you own a business with another person and they're just wow. They come in when they feel like it. They, they do the books when they feel like it. They pay payroll when they feel like it. They're just wild and free. That's not going to work for the partnership. Now they can be free. You can talk about it and say, well, you don't have to come in every day. You can come in Tuesdays and Thursdays and do payroll. You can have a way of working it out, is my point. And a relationship is a partnership. So you have to talk about it and work it out and find ways for the Aquarius to still be able to be free, but still show up in the relationship. I think this is where a lot of relationships with Aquarius run into a lot of trouble. And the last one came from Gimme Cornbread. What's up, Gimme Cornbread? Gimme Cornbread said that she used to live in the hood. I was talking about the hood last week. And she said, I was an outsider myself. And kids would make fun of my unusual style. But then a few months later, they would copy me. So she's answering the hood video, but I'm not sure if she was in the hood or not. Because this outsider thing happens in the hood. It happens in the suburbs. It happens in, rich areas. It happens in different countries. It's just the concept of you don't fit into your community, period. Because you do something different than the rest of the community, and it's such a big deal. And Gimme Cornbread is saying that a few months later, they will be copying what they were just making fun of last week. And I agree with you. I'm going to tell you guys one thing. I swear to you on my right hand, I swear that I am the one that made thigh boots. Those long knee and thigh boots. I like thigh boots. I swear I'm the one that made them popular in Philadelphia. I swear to you. Because I saw a Pretty Woman. And in high school, I got a pair of those boots up to my thighs. And I always had a pair of them if I saw them in my size. Because mind you, now you can find them in anybody's size. But back then it was hard to find them in a big girl size. But I had a pair. And I had several pairs. And I wore them, and people would call them hooker boots, and they would talk smack about me. They was cute, though. They was cute with my little outfits, my little tights, and my long shirts. They was cute. And the next thing I know, everybody had a pair. They're still popular to this day in Philadelphia. And, well, I shouldn't say this day, because I left 3 years ago. But when I left 3 years ago, women were still sporting them in the wintertime. And when I had them in high school at 14 years old, everybody was telling me that they was hooker boots and this, that, and the third. Not everybody got a pair. Okay? So this does happen a lot. A lot of times you'll, come up with a little something or you'll like something. And I got that again from Hollywood. I used to love Hollywood, old Hollywood, new Hollywood, different movies. And that's where I got my dressing style from. And people would make fun of me. And then, like she said, some of those trends did take off. And of course, I don't get no credit for it. Just enjoy your thigh boots, right? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.